Hi everyone, Jordan Ray here again with another Google App Scripting video. This one's a little bit different. I updated a Chrome extension that I built a couple of years ago when I went to the Google Innovator Academy as part of a teaching cohort. Well, I updated this extension to help me better organize tasks that I'm doing, and I thought it would be a fun way to integrate Google App Scripting web apps with that extension. And I also wanted it to look a little bit better. You'll see I've got a very nice looking Bob Ross-esque background there. That's compliments of Unsplash and Felipe, it looks like. Very cool mountain range. And that should update every day. It's not always going to be the same picture. Every day you'll get a different background. But what we're going to do is actually set it so that you can upload your tasks into a Google Sheet and track them that way. Maybe I'll do a later video that'll kind of maybe graph some of these things and see how many tasks you complete every single week. But for now, let's get started with building the web app that we can use with our extension. Okay, let's get started. I've got my task log sheet created, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the script editor. And the first thing I'll do is give it a name, and we'll just call it task log app. And in order for it to be a web app, it's got to have either a do get function or a do post. And in this case, we're going to be posting data from our dashboard to our spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and create that do post. It's going to take in the event. We'll just call it E. In fact, I'll just call it event. It's a little bit clearer. And we're going to create a variable tasks and set that equal to json.parse e.postdata.contents. What that is doing is it's taking the array that we send it. It's going to parse that into an array that we can use with Google Apps Script. Now I'm going to use a try and catch in order to kind of just do a little error checking, very basic, just a way to handle any errors that happen, maybe if the internet connection goes wonky or something. And what we're going to do, I need to get in fact, I'm going to call it append sheet. I'm going to do all of this in its own function. And I'm going to return content service. We're going to create text output json.stringify. And we are going to stringify, what should we do? Yeah, I need to send it. Because the way I have set up this dashboard, it needs to see a status success in order for it to kind of reset all the complete tasks. And one last method we need to run on this content service, and that is set Mime type to content service Mime type.json. And that will handle our, I'm going to actually space these things down. And space that down. Okay, now I'm going to do something similar with the error, except instead of success, I'm going to send it an error. And we'll just say error. And that way it won't remove any of those complete tasks from our, from the setup here. It won't delete those. So we actually need to create this append sheet function. So let's just do that right below. Append sheet, and that's going to take in these tasks and curly brace block. Now, it's going to be a couple of things here because on this sheet, I actually wanted to post, okay, the week submitted. I want to do date submitted and the task itself. So I'm going to have 3 columns. Let me go ahead and give this its own little style. Let's do some white text, and I'm going to freeze this first row. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to loop over these tasks. Oops. Yeah, we're going to loop over the tasks, and we are, yikes, because I didn't set up this the for loop very well. It's not going to space me out. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to take a sheet, we're going to append a row, and we'll put column 1, column 2, column 3, and that will become column 1, column 2, column 3. But let's actually define some things here. We need to actually get the sheet, and we'll do that with the spreadsheet app. Get active spreadsheet, and then we're going to get sheet by name, and let's call it task log. And that'll give us an instance of the sheet itself. We need to get the date, and we'll do that with a new date object. This is a JavaScript class that gives us a date formatted object. And then we need to get the week. And to do that, we'll create another function called getWeek, and we'll send it this date object that we just created, instantiated here. And that's going to actually subtract, whoa, okay. That formatting there is really kind of wonky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out this for loop. We'll say var I equals 0, I is less than tasks.length, and then I plus plus. And now we've got something that'll work for us. Of course, we haven't, quite finished that out, but let's write this getWeek function. And that's going to take in the date. And what we're going to do with it is we need to say Sunday, because we want to say week of, Sunday the whatever. So let's just call this Sunday equals new date, and then Sunday.set, I think it's set date. Set date, and we're going to say date that we passed in to the function date.getDate, and then we're going to subtract the current day from that, date.getDay. Now what that'll do is it'll basically say, hey, we're going to make this date to be the first day of the week. And we'll be able to test that in a minute, but let's return a string, and we'll say week of, and let's add in the Sunday object that we created, and say toDate string. And that'll give us it'll say week of, Sunday the whatever. toDate string is just a method. Oh, it's kind of wonky, isn't it? toDate string just basically turns Sunday into something that we can read. So now we've got this week object here, and we need to actually append everything to the row. So let's say sheet.append row, and we want to say tasks, get the I index, and I think it's .text text. Sorry, I forgot. We need to actually put everything into an array. Let me start this over because I'm not explaining that very well. We're going to do, let's just declare it its own variable. Var text equals tasks with the I index and then .text. And that'll give us the text as its own variable. And now let's do sheet.append row. We're going to put an empty array into the append row, and it's going to have 3 different variables. The first one is going to be the week, the second one is going to be the date, and then the third one is going to be the text. And that corresponds to the 3 columns that we have here. And that should be all that we need to do to get our app going. All that's left is to deploy it. So I'm going to set this to anyone, even anonymous. That should be the only thing you need to change. Who has access to the app? Anyone, even anonymous. And we're going to deploy that. I want to review permissions. If you are on a G Suite domain, then it'll be a little bit simpler. If you're on a commercial account, like I currently am, then it's going to give you this app isn't verified, but because I wrote the code myself, I'm not super worried about it. And it gives us a web app URL. We're going to copy that and hit OK. And the only thing we need to do is then, if you've installed the Innovator dashboard, you should have a reference to it in the upper right-hand corner. You just need to find it, right-click on it, go to Options, and we're going to set our task document to that URL. And you can just hit Save Settings, and if you refresh this, you'll make sure that it's saved. Yep, no problem. Now, if you open up back into a new tab and click on Upload Tasks, after a few moments, you should see this completed column clear itself, and we can look back at our sheet, and you'll see all of those tasks appear here. Hopefully you found that informative, a little bit of information about publishing a web app and tying that service into other things. For example, this extension. Check below the video for any links, and I will talk to you next time. Cheers.